Hi, I'm Dan Hilton from the Barcelona Podcast. Today we continue our ranking of the top 50 players in FC Barcelona history. If you missed 50 through 21, those videos are down below in the description because today we've got number 20 through 11 as we continue our countdown to number 1. I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get started. Let's turn back the clock to one of the first superstars in Barcelona history. Believe it or not, but there was a time when FC Barcelona was just one of the several Catalan clubs in Catalonia. By the time Josep Samitier arrived in 1918, Barcelona were the top team, but the man nicknamed the Lobster Man and the Magician took the club to new heights. He won 17 trophies with the club, scoring 184 official goals from 1919 to 1933. He began as a midfielder, but once he moved to a spot up top, his legend began to take form. In 1922, Le Court was built in part to house the larger audiences that a Samitier-led team were attracting. He returned to Barcelona in 1944 to manage CF Barcelona, guiding the club to its second La Liga title, having won the first one ever in 1929 as a player. As the club's chief scout in 1950, he helped the Blaugrana recruit Laszlo Kubala. Between his first stint at Barcelona and his return to the club, he played for Madrid CF, now Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and was exiled in France. Later on, he may have had a hand in Madrid getting Alfredo Di Stefano over Barca, but those are all stories for another time. A boy from Sabadell joined La Masia in 2005, and Pep Guardiola took a chance on him in the first team in 2008. Sergio Busquets not only took that chance, but he became one of the greatest defensive midfielders in football history. Sometimes the greatness of Busquets gets lost because he does the unselfish things, because he played third fiddle behind Xavi and Iniesta, because Messi is first to get credit for Barca's recent trophies. But Busquets was essential to it all. 29 trophies and counting, a World Cup winner, a European champion. The Vicente del Bosque quote is well known, but it should be repeated every chance we get. If you watch the whole game, you won't see Busquets, but watch Busquets and you will see the whole game. And his story isn't over yet. Only one Spanish-born player has ever won the Ballon d'Or, and that is Luis Suárez. The first Barca legend with that name became a legend in two different positions with two different clubs. Before he was moved back into a deep-lying playmaker role with the Grande Inter squad of the 1960s, he spent 6 seasons in Catalonia as an attacking midfielder. The A Coruña-born Suárez came to Barca in 1955, but really found his feet when Helenio Herrera arrived in 1958. Suárez pulled the strings behind Kubala, Zoltan Zibor, Sandor Kocic, and Hristo. He helped take back La Liga from Real Madrid, winning 6 trophies in all for the Blaugrana before following Herrera to Inter Milan. He won 2 European Cups there, again getting in the way of the mighty Real Madrid of the 1960s. El Arquitecto is credited with 61 goals in 122 appearances with the club. The highest goalkeeper on this list, Víctor Valdés didn't have the memorable end to his Barca career, both as a player and as a youth coach, but he's a Barca legend without a doubt. 21 trophies, 6 La Liga titles, 3 Champions Leagues, and 5 times as a Zamora Trophy winner. He made 535 official appearances for the club. Cruyff had taught Stanley Menzo of Ajax and Zubizarreta and Carlos Busquets at Barca to use their feet. But under the tutelage of Guardiola, Valdés changed the game for goalkeepers. He came up through La Masia, but was largely unheralded when he began to appear in the first team in 2002. Louis van Gaal sent him down to the B team after some not-so-great showings, but he bounced back under Frank Rijkaard, helping to win the first Champions League title of the century. He was brash, brave, and usually terrific. Don't let the end have you forget the journey. Speaking of that Champions League victory in 2006, Samuel Eto'o scored the first goal in the 2-1 comeback win against Arsenal. He played 5 seasons for the Blaugrana and won 8 titles, among them the 2 Champions League trophies and 3 La Ligas. He came up with Real Madrid, but Los Blancos didn't know what they had and let him go to Mallorca after a successful loan in 2000. He became Mallorca's all-time leading goal scorer, and Barcelona came calling in 2004 before Madrid could get him back. He rewarded the club with 130 goals in 152 appearances, tying him at 8th on Barca's all-time goal-scoring list, with a player we'll get to in a minute. Eto'o won back-to-back trebles when he left for Inter Milan in 2009. But just like all the players that left under not-so-friendly terms, don't forget what he was for Guardiola's system. He was good in the air, good with either foot, worked hard, understood spacing, and maybe most importantly, always seemed to show up. He also paved the way for African footballers in Europe. Ronald Koeman scored that goal in the 1992 European Cup final at Wembley to give Barcelona their first ever Champions League trophy. But the man nicknamed Tintin was so much more than that in the shirt. He is the highest scoring defender in Barca history, and it's not close, with 106 goals and 6 seasons with the club. He arrived in 1989 from PSV and was a central figure of fellow Dutch great Johan Cruyff's dream team. If you've been paying attention to this list, You know the tale of the tape by now. 12 trophies, including the 4 straight La Ligas, and Koeman was the perfect combination of athleticism, power, and desire at the back. His free kicks were something special. He was the joint top scorer with 8 goals in the 1993-94 Champions League campaign, and his goal against Real Madrid in the memorable 5-0 victory at the Camp Nou in El Clasico are testament to the defender's offensive prowess. He was an assistant coach for Barca after retiring from 1998 to 2000, and expect him to be linked to the Barca job for as long as he is managing somewhere else. Rivaldo only won 4 trophies at Barcelona, 2 La Ligas, 1 Copa del Rey, and 1 UEFA Super Cup. But more can be said about the team around him than the efforts of the Brazilian. He was clinical on arrival, coming from Deportivo La Coruña in 1997. He scored 130 official goals in 137 matches, putting him in a tie with Eto'o for 8th on Barca's all-time list. Most impressively, Rivaldo was a big-time player in Europe. His 31 goals in international competition puts him second behind Messi in record books. Sir Bobby Robson is credited with bringing the Brazilian to the Camp Nou over Steve McManaman, and it wound up a great decision in terms of individual talent. He won the FIFA World Player of the Year and the Ballon d'Or on the back of his Barca success. Opponents knew what was coming when he would come inside and put the ball on his stupendous left foot, but they couldn't stop him. He would score from inside the box, outside the box, on free kicks, and from all angles. After his final season at Barca in 2002, he partnered Ronaldo and Ronaldinho at the World Cup, winning the tournament and scoring in 5 of the 7 games. 3 Barca players have won the European Cup, the Golden Boot, and the Ballon d'Or: Luis Suárez, Messi, and Hristo Stoichkov. The Bulgarian was plucked from CSKA Sofia in 1990, recruited to lead the line for the Dream Team. The idea of a forward bringing pressure was epitomized by Stoichkov's hunger on the field. He could score goals in a variety of ways, and partnered with Romario to form one of the best striker duos the Camp Nou had ever seen. He won 17 trophies with the Blaugrana, taking his fine club form to the 1994 FIFA World Cup, where he scored 6 goals, finishing as the tournament's top scorer and capturing the World Cup Golden Shoe and the Bronze Ball. It may have been his performance at the World Cup that won him the Ballon d'Or in 1995, but the left-footed forward was just as lethal in Catalonia. He did have a temper, but you could call that a winning mentality. Sometimes you have to give the people what they want. Ronaldo played just a 1996-97 season at Barcelona, but he arguably had the greatest individual season Kool-Aid's had ever seen until Messi came along. 34 goals in 37 games in the Liga gave him the Pichichi Trophy. It also gave him the Golden Shoe, joining Messi and Luis Suárez as the only 2 Barca players to take home the award. Most impressively, his season at Barcelona won him the Ballon d'Or, as he collected 47 goals in 49 games in all competitions. The Brazilian came to Catalonia from PSV on a world record fee, becoming the 3rd Barcelona player with that distinction behind Cruyff and Maradona. He won the Copa del Rey, UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, and the Spanish Super Cup in his one season, equaling the 3 trophies he would win in his 5 seasons with Real Madrid later in his career. He was 20 years old at Barcelona, a physical force, powerful, quick, skillful, clinical. Injuries may have derailed his career from reaching the heights that it could have, but he still won 2 World Cups along the way. A lot of this list has to do with the player's contribution at the club, but go watch some highlights of Ronaldo's year at Barcelona. You'll see why the eye test matters too. He is polarizing to Kool-Aid as he winds down his career at Barcelona, but Luis Suárez has an argument for being Barcelona's greatest pure striker in club history. He has 191 official goals with the club in 270 appearances, putting him 4th on Barcelona's all-time goal-scoring chart. Barca got what they paid for when they purchased him in 2014 from Liverpool as a Golden Boot holder, but he's also contributed 96 assists. 2015-16 was a banner year for the Uruguayan, following up Barcelona's treble-winning season by capturing the Pichichi with 40 goals in 35 games. Messi's amigo scored the eventual game-winning goal against Juventus in the Champions League final, cementing his place in Barca history and capturing the most memorable of his 13 trophies at the club. So there you have it, 20 through 11 as we get closer, and I think at this point, you might have a good idea who the top 10 might be. If you like what we had 20 through 11, let us know, or let us know what you disagree with down in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and until tomorrow, Forza Barca.